In today's rough economic times, energy conservation is now more important than ever. Americans are interested in greener living and being self-sufficient, and that includes sustainable building and green architecture.
In affordable housing, and really for anyone, the cost of energy is only going up and up and up. So what we like to say is you can get a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage on a home, but you can't get a 30-year fixed-rate energy bill on a house. Well, actually you can if you use solar panels and use the natural environment to heat and cool your home. You can dramatically reduce that cost over time.
Nowhere is the need for affordable housing and sustainable building material more evident than in the high desert of northern New Mexico in the Navajo Nation Indian Reservation. Here, the poverty and unemployment level is high and the climate is unpredictable, with temperatures ranging from over 40 degrees Celsius in the summer to 17 below zero in the winter.
Just coming from a background myself, my background is in design and planning. And so I look at communities from a standpoint of holistic communities and wanting to have that idea out there and the idea of the American dream. And I want to see that translate into Indian country, but with Indian country and Navajo country's own language and own vocabulary. And I think that's one of the things that we have a challenge as well as a huge opportunity in front of us to make that happen.
Here in the tiny Navajo Nation town of Nahese, New Mexico, one home stands out in contrast for offering the latest in energy-saving technologies, while still designed to reflect the Native American culture and traditions. Mary and Key Augustine had been on a waiting list of Navajo Nation elders in need of housing assistance when their new home was built in 2005 as a model for providing efficient, affordable housing.
I'm proud of it, and it's just a dream of mine that came true. And it's just, I never thought that we'll have a house like this.
When you open up a house with a courtyard in the desert, what it does is it allows every room in the house to have cross breezes, and that allows the house to be completely passively cooled. This house doesn't have any sort of air conditioner, and the family has reported, and we've monitored the home over a full 4-season cycle and determined that it is effectively passively cooled with just the shading and the mass of the walls themselves.
And one thing that I think that this project has really looked at doing is trying to find a way to help the everyday Navajo person out there, living out there in a home that's probably not up to par with the rest of the homes across the country, but really also finding a way to fit that need, but also to be a little bit more innovative in the fact that maybe there's a way that you can build a home and look at addressing the sustainability from an environmental perspective, the sustainability from an economic perspective, as well as the sustainability from just being living a Navajo daily lifestyle.
Designed by the Stardust Center for Affordable Homes and the family at Arizona State University and built by the Navajo Housing Authority, the Augustine home incorporates their native Indian culture throughout, including a central courtyard designed to reflect the traditional hogan and an east-facing entry to welcome the morning sun. At the same time, the home design honors the 4 elements of fire, water, earth, and air through a central fireplace, a roof designed to collect rainwater, the use of local materials, and a natural ventilation system to save energy.
We believe it's certainly a model home for green, affordable housing. It provides many of these green features for a very modest income.
Really, I think the house represents a tremendous bridging of a language. I like to call it from a design perspective. You know, it culturally evokes very much what Navajo being is all about.
According to its architect, the Augustine home is 80% more energy efficient than a conventional house, thanks to a recycled material called Navajo FlexCrete that was used to build the house. While at first glance, FlexCrete blocks might look like conventional concrete cinder blocks, they're not. Navajo FlexCrete blocks are solid, yet 4 times lighter than concrete, thanks to tiny air pockets that give the material an insulation value of R35. This helps to heat and cool the house without air conditioning or central heat, despite the house sitting above 7,000 feet altitude.
The big advantage of aerated concrete, of which Navajo FlexCrete is a type of aerated concrete, is that it provides both insulation and mass for a home. The mass is very important in the desert because mass acts as a storage for energy. So in this kind of climate where it gets very cool in the summertime at night and then heats up in the day, you want to be able to harness that cool energy, and the walls do that. They store that energy, and then it holds on to that temperature throughout the day. So by naturally ventilating, you bring in the cool night desert air, and then it keeps the home cool throughout the day.
You're looking at an over 60% savings on their utility costs, which is tremendous. You know, anyone that can find a 60% savings on their utility bills is really, you know, people are going to look to changing to the material.
This house, for example, is now heated entirely by a single wood-burning stove, and they use about $60 a month in the winter to heat the whole house. And there are homes in this region where people are spending over $300 a month just to keep the house warm.
And has lowered all the costs of water and electric and everything else about it.
But primarily, it's the recycled aspect of Navajo FlexCrete that makes it a green building solution. Navajo FlexCrete is primarily made of fly ash, the gray soot left over after burning coal, and the waste product of power plants that would otherwise be headed for our nation's landfills.
One of the things that's neat about this component is it's utilizing the idea of concrete and durability, but it's also utilizing the idea of recyclability, making less of a footprint on Mother Earth.
While Navajo FlexCrete is used in part for its energy-saving and environmentally friendly qualities, it is also a byproduct of the Navajo Nation. The fly ash used for FlexCrete blocks is a waste product from the power plants in Page, Arizona, which is trucked to the nearby Navajo FlexCrete plant at the rate of 300,000 tons a year to provide needed jobs for tribal members and a green building material for the nation.
That fly ash just gets transported literally like five miles down the road to our facility and is incorporated into this material. And so from that standpoint, reusing the recycled material into the content of this building block material, normally that content would just go right straight to the landfill. But now we're finding a use for it to be reused and be recycled. It also goes back into the home on the reservation, so it's really neat.
Well, I think I speak from all of us that work in the plant. There's about 10 Navajos that work with us, where we take great pride in what we produce there, and eventually the end product is homes for the Navajo people.
Greener living means efficient, sustainable living, and Navajo FlexCrete may be the green building solution for the future for heating and cooling homes with less energy.
And so from that standpoint, my interests, and I care about a lot of how design affects the end user, which is the Navajo people. And I think that the Navajo people, when they get a community, when they get a house, and they get something that they can put their name on, I think it should speak about who they are as well, not just a piece of American pie, but a piece of their own Navajo American pie. That's really, I think, the magic of what Navajo FlexCrete is all about, is really sustainability at its very core.
And for the Navajo Nation, FlexCrete is now a growing Navajo-owned business that promises affordable housing and economic growth for its people.
The greening of America, really, and greening of Indian country. So I really think that's our mission, is to really make sure that we can play a good part in the greening of Indian country, but also establish an economic engine for ourselves as well.
For more information, visit NavajoFlexCrete.biz.